Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know you guys have seen me do roses before. I'm not trying to bore you. And no, this is not a little nose. I'm just kind of trying to sketch on what my idea is going to be. And then we will go in there with some color. So I'm going to try and do a couple of roses, and we're going to do them sunset roses, which are beautiful shades of like coral and orange and red and yellow, and they're just gorgeous. So that's what I want to do. I've done them before. You guys might have seen a rock with sunset roses and a little butterfly. I do believe that butterfly is on some of my business cards from the past. But yeah, so I'm just penciling it on. I have a fairly large stone. I'm actually going to measure it for you just so you know what kind of space I'm working with. So it is about 6 by 5. So it's about 6 inches wide. That's the size of this stone approximately, because of course it's not easy to measure an imperfect object like a stone. But yes, it is close to 6 inches. And so I'm just penciling on my idea. I'm going to keep what I like, and I'll erase what I don't like. But first, I'm going to outline everything in black so that we have that there and it doesn't get erased. So only paint in if you're comfortable with sketching it on with pencil first, or even a chalk pencil, whatever you're working with. Because a lot of people have said, like, I keep trying roses and they look like a fried egg. So if you want to like keep penciling in your fried egg until it looks like a rose, and then you just paint what you like and erase the rest once the black paint is dry. So you can adjust it and see how it looks once it's filled out with black paint. If it doesn't look like a rose and it looks like a fried egg, well, guess what? We're making fried eggs today, guys, with petals and leaves and stems and glitter. Eggs and glitter. So yeah, I'm just going to outline everything with my fine lining brush. If you guys need help making a fine lining brush like mine, I cut them myself and make them how I want them so that I can fine line much easier. I haven't always been so smooth with my fine lining. It has taken me a lot of practice. You guys see me use my fine lining brush in every tutorial, so that's how much practice I've got. That plus some. So yeah, if you need help with that, my tutorial will be listed in the description of this video, which is a little down arrow to the bottom right of this video screen. Click the down arrow and scroll down, and you will see all of my tips and tricks and secrets and discounts and all of that fun stuff. So I have erased, after my black paint dried, I erased all of my pencil. Now I'm showing you the wrong yellow. I didn't end up using this yellow. I ended up using moon yellow. And there it is. I showed you the wrong yellow first because I got it out wrong. It's not going to look very good if I don't put white underneath. It kind of looks like it's grayed out a little bit. So we are going to make all of our petals white to prime them, because we're going to have a bright yellow in there. We don't want it to be gray. We don't want it to be yellowish gray. So we're going to white it out using our lovely white acrylic paint. Some people use gesso for primer. I simply use a white matte acrylic paint from the dollar store. That is my go-to primer. So sometimes I need 2 coats depending on how dark the stone is. This stone is fairly light. It is going to change when I resin it. You'll be able to see like these really cool marks on it that have been made naturally by the waves and sand and rocks of Lake Superior. So it's going to look a lot different when I seal it with resin. But it is going to stay fairly light compared to some of the rocks that I've worked on in the past with you guys. No, I'm not going to put any primer or white paint in my petals, or sorry, my leaves. I'm just doing the petals because there's going to be bright yellow and red in these petals up here. So, and I'm not going like perfect right to the edges. As you can see, I just kind of want to get the centers of everything, every petal, all of that needs to be filled in because it's going to be yellow. So now I'm going in with a little sponge. I used a little sponge and a blending brush to put the white on. I'll be using sponges and blending brushes throughout this entire thing because there's going to be a whole lot of blending going on. You guys have heard me say this before. I love blending. Now that I know what I'm doing with it, now that I work quick enough with acrylic paint that I can blend. But I'm just using little sponge daubers. This one is a Craftsmart one. It's covered in paint and it's dirty. Really super old. It's just a little wooden stick with a sponge on top of it. They work great. Or Martha Stewart sponge daubers. Those things are great. I glue the sponges back on sometimes when they fall off because I use the heck out of those things. So I was going to try some orange in there, but I changed my mind. I am going to use a nice deep fire engine red. I don't even think it's called fire engine. It's just engine red, actually. I'm going to check. Yeah, it's just engine red. And I'm trying to keep the yellow. I will be going back in with some yellow. I'm using a blending brush right now, but I will go back in and sponge in some yellow in there and make sure it's blended nicely. And, you know, make it up yourself where you want it to be light, where you want it to be dark. I just kind of make it easier on myself and just try to keep the centers of each petal portion yellow, or as yellow as possible. But you can see it's blending in and you aren't really seeing too much yellow. So I will be going back in with some yellow to brighten up some of those areas. But I only want the red around the outsides of each portion. So when I was a kid, when I used to use crayons and coloring books and stuff, I used to always do like a thick outer line for each piece that I was coloring. And then I would nice and softly shade the inside. I was told that's how I was supposed to color. So I just practiced getting really good at that. And so this kind of reminds me of when I was coloring as a child, doing like the nice thick outer line of yellow or blue. And then on the inside, I just shaded in lightly. I guess it's kind of the same technique that I'm doing here, although I'm not just using one color, I'm using two colors. So I'm using the yellow to lighten up the centers of each little portion, and it kind of looks beautiful afterwards. Now you can do this with any two colors you want. You can use like a dark purple and a light purple. You can use a light blue and a dark blue. You can use red and add a little bit of like coral. Totally up to you. You could do a green rose if you wanted with a blue stem. It's totally up to you. It looks beautiful when you do two colors like this. So even if you don't like sunset roses, or this doesn't look like a sunset rose to you in the end, you do what you want to do. That's all that matters. Just make some art and make people smile. So I am using my blending brush again. These little spaces are tiny. So sponges, you know, there aren't Martha Stewart sponges that are small enough. So I made blending brushes to make my life easier that way. I will be adding a little bit of glitter. You don't have to. If you have like a sparkly highlighter or a sparkly eyeshadow that's kind of gold, that will work as well with what I'm going to be doing today. You guys have seen me do it before. I'm going to be using some chrome powders for nails, but except for we don't use like the top UV coat or gel that you have to cure under a lamp. We're just using the glitter to make the petals sparkle. And the leaves. We're going to be using it on the leaves as well, but I'm just going to use one color. It's like a greenish gold, and it looks really, really nice on just about everything. So you'll see that a little bit later. I'm basically just gabbing and talking about that while I do this other little rose that's off to the side here. You could do as many roses as you want. Just make sure that when you're done with all your sponging and blending, that you do take your fine lining brush and outline everything again with black. We want to separate all of them. We want to separate all those little bits and pieces away from each other and away from the background of the stone. You guys can probably hear a loud sound right now. There is bread being made in the bread maker. And I also have my robotic vacuum doing the living room floor. So if it gets loud, I'm going to pause it and then come back to y'all. Because, you know, this is how I do my housework now. Everything's being done mechanically for me so that I can do a little bit more work. Blessed to have a Roomba. Very blessed. Although it takes me half an hour in the morning to pick up after everybody so that the Roomba doesn't get stuck on it all. Because I don't want to vacuum. I want to sit down and relax or paint. I don't want to follow the Roomba around the house. I may as well just vacuum. But yeah, I'm trying to make my life easier. So now that my red is drying a little bit more, I'm going back in with some yellow just to lighten. I want to see that sunset in there. I want to see the beautiful colors. Well, the two colors, but I'm just making sure that that yellow is visible. And now I'm going to work on all the bits and pieces of the little one. And like I said, I've done this in many colors and it looks beautiful. Just that little contrast. It really changes things. It really, really changes your artwork. If you just do a little bit of manipulation of the colors. I don't know. I don't even know how I should say it, but it's darn fun, you guys. It makes a big difference. On my roses anyway, for sure. So I hope you try it. I hope you are able to share your pictures with me either on Facebook or rachelsrockscanada@gmail.com. I may not respond to all of your emails because I can't. There's no possible way for me to keep up on it all. There's just no way. Maybe when I'm an old lady with no kids at home, I'll be able to respond to every email, but right now I really can't. But I do see them, and I look at them, and I'm so proud of them. I want to hang them on my fridge right next to my kids' pictures. So I just want you guys to all know how much you mean to me and how much I love that you're sharing everything with me. And I can see the pride on you when you're sharing these with me, and it makes me so happy and so proud that I was able to share something with you that helped you create something beautiful and special. And it's just so great. This rock world is fantastic, and I love each and every single one of you guys. So keep sending me photos. Know that I do love and appreciate every single one of you. And at some point, I would like to share like a big collage of everybody's beautiful rock art that they've sent pictures of to me. And I want the whole world to see them. So one day when there's time, maybe. I am going to pause it for a moment because my Roomba is being noisy, but I am outlining this little rose at the moment. I'm going to be just using a classic green, a nice dark green on my leaves, and I'm going to be using an brown, what's it called, burnt umber for my stems. They're going to be prickly stems, that you don't want to touch with your fingers because they will hurt you. So yeah, covered in thorns. But you don't even have to do thorns. You can just do green stems if you want. Everything here is optional. So there's the burnt umber. It's just a nice dark brown. And I didn't have to prime anything because the colors are going to be really dark. I don't have to prime it. So this part is easy. So I'm just filling in my stems. I'm going to flick with my fine lining brush, just flick some little thorns along those stems once they're a little bit dry. But I'm using classic green for my little green bits. And I will be like using a lighter shade of green. Pull yourself together, woman. Inside those leaves. And then I'll be adding a little bit of glitter. So you'll see that process as well. And simple, I'm going to just outline everything in black. Make sure that these leaves are separated from one another, just like I did with my petals. Everything on my roses are dry right now, so that's great. That's a good time to work on the green parts. And then once everything is almost dry, that's when we're going to add some glitter. So I'm using my blending brush again to just fill in without having any paint strokes, because I don't like paint strokes on certain things. Sometimes, just depends. But I'm getting, it's like a little sponge on the end of your paintbrush. So my blending brushes, I have a tutorial for that where you just chop them down and make them into little blenders. They're good little blenders. So I'm using my blending brush again, and I'm going to add some light green. Doesn't matter, just use a lighter shade so that it's noticeably lighter in the centers of your leaves. I'm using a green, it's grass green, I believe. And I'm using a big Martha Stewart sponge to just go in the centers. I'm not going right out to the edge. I'm keeping the edges that dark classic green. I just want to lighten the centers of the leaves a little bit, give them some beautify them a little, makes them look airbrushed. Same with the rose, like if you blend it properly and there's nice smooth transition from the yellow to the red, it does look airbrushed almost, and that's like really, really cool. So I'm making sure that I outline all of my little green bits, just like I said. I want them all separated from one another. I want them to kind of separate from the rock itself by outlining it. It's just my thing. You don't have to do it. You can outline in gold if you want, if you'd rather. Or don't outline them at all. Just keep that dark green. It's totally up to you. Some people don't like the black outline, and, you know, to each his own. Is that the saying? You do you. You guys always remind me to just be me. So, what great advice. So, I'm going to use that dark green as well to do like a little vein down the center of my leaves as well. But I'm going to let that light green dry, and I'm going to add some glitter first. I'm doing a nice little bit of gold along the edge of my stems, and then I'm going to make them prickly. So I'm doing like a million little prickles coming off of these little branches or off these stems. Pretty hairy. They look hairy now. Once again, you don't have to do the same type of stem as I'm doing. It's just the way I did it. It's going to look totally different as well. This stone is going to change so much once I seal it with resin, and you'll really be able to see the color pop, and the glitter will sparkle like crazy. I'm putting my glitter on now. It's that goldish green color, and I'm just dabbing it on with a makeup sponge. You can use eyeshadow. So people have asked in the past, and yes, for sure you can. Anything that's like a fine glitter, it'll work. You need a very small amount. Just dip your little brush in and smudge it around, blend it in, and it does a lot to your artwork. And nobody who wrote the rule saying you're not allowed to use it. I didn't. So you can use whatever the heck you want to make your rocks beautiful. So yeah, if you want to use eyeshadow, if you have it handy, use it. All I do afterwards is add a little bit of glue or Mod Podge that dries clear over top. I'm sponging it on just where I added all the glitter, and that will keep all my glitter in place so that it doesn't go anywhere, and we don't have to worry about it like sliding all over the rock and making it glittery in places that we didn't want it to be. So this just holds it in place. Let it dry, and then you're good to go. So I'm doing a nice dark thicket green vein down the center of my leaf. That's it. I'm not doing anything fancy smanchy, nothing. That's it. Making sure that everything is outlined properly with my black. Just doing some touch-ups now. Not trying to be a perfectionist, but sometimes when I blend and stuff, it does go out the edges, and I like to clean it up a bit with my fine lining and my black paint. So everything's looking pretty nice. Yeah, it's gonna pop with resin. I can just feel it. So I hit a huge amount of views on my blue butterfly recently, and I just want to thank each and every one of you if you've hit the like button or you gave me a sweet comment about it. It's really blown up with its views, and I'm very proud of it. So thanks to every single one of my subscribers. Thank you to everyone on Instagram, everyone on Facebook, Pinterest. Each and every one of you are amazing. Here is it resined. Oh, now it's out of focus. I want to show you the glitter first. I just want to show you that glitter and what it does to blow your mind. Look at that. Oh, and look at the stone. Look at how much that stone changed. Now you can see its beautiful scars, those beautiful scars from being tossed around the waves of Lake Superior. It's just so beautiful. And resin brings out all of that, and of course makes the rock color pop. Look at those roses. You guys, I hope this was fun for you. I hope you like it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to share if you think it's beautiful. It might put a smile on somebody's face. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Bye.